Good morning from the state capitol. Peg Larson here. This is the first deadline date, and both policy bills in the House and the Senate Education Committee have been finished. The one in the House actually passed out of committee on a straight partisan vote, all Democrats voting against it, all Republicans voting for it. That was the second to lead-all amendment to change provisions in the bill. Chair Erickson centers on teacher licensure. She believes that we are going to face a great shortage, and she's trying to do all she can to make it easier for teachers from out of state to get licensure here without having to jump through all the hoops. That has been a theme that has run through the whole session so far. Chair Erickson also has provided for the 4-day school week without permission of the commissioner. It's working for about 8 districts in rural Minnesota, and they would like to see that continue, and she does continue that in her bill. She also expands early learning scholarship provisions to parents under the age of 21 who are working towards their college degree, and it places their children on a list so that they can get the scholarships first. One of the other provisions in the House Education Policy Bill is reforming home visiting programs and prioritizing children with high needs at an earlier age. She also allows the Board of Teaching to suspend, revoke, or deny teaching licenses to individuals convicted of serious crimes, and that's mainly sex trafficking and crimes in that statute. It was a very contentious hearing. The Democrats are not at all happy with the bill, but it did pass, and I believe that it will be on the floor fairly soon. The deadlines technically should be next Friday for the second policy deadline, but everybody has moved their deadlines up. As a result, today, Chair Uyghur finished his education policy bill. The Democrats on the House Education Policy Committee had a lot of problems with this bill. They said it was technically sound, but they do not like the way that she streamlines the teacher licensures, and also they do not like the fact that she did not zero in on the workforce development, which was a big issue for them last session. In the Senate, however, the bills are very different. Chair Uyghur's bill is much more of a technical bill. He actually finished it up this morning about 9:30. He did have time set aside to come back this afternoon or tomorrow morning if the amendments didn't stop flowing. And as soon as members heard that, they kind of slowed down for some of the amendments that they thought should be on the bill but had never had a bill hearing, which he did object to, and rightfully so. The things that he highlighted in his bill: general education aid, he strikes obsolete language and he makes technical corrections to the general education aid for the fiscal year 2015 and later. He makes a technical correction to the calculation of the district's referendum allowance. Excuse me. He also appeals a retired employee's health insurance levy for which no district qualifies. He changes the length of the school year to 4 days if the school district wants it, and once again, that's without the commissioner's approval. He does put in there, it amends the level needed to obtain a foreign language seal to advanced, low level, or intermediate, high level listening, speaking, reading, and writing on assessments aligned with the American Council for the Teaching of Foreign Languages proficiency guidelines. And that's pretty much along the lines, I believe, that Representative Norton has a bill for that also. He adopts plans that require school districts' long-term strategic plan for the world's best workforce to include a process for determining grade promotion or retention, which was somewhat controversial, allowing teachers to hold back a student, which actually doesn't happen very often anymore. He addresses statewide testing, eliminating the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, MCAs, in mathematics for grades 3 and 4, requiring the MCAs in grades 5 through 8 and 11. Eliminates the reading MCAs in grades 6 and 7, requires the MCAs in grades 3 through 5, 8, and 10. And the elimination of assessments is contingent upon the Department of Education obtaining an amendment to its federal flexibility waiver. There was a lot of discussion about how many tests should be given, when they should be given, and both bills take the department's stance that the tests should be cut back and optional. Obviously, school districts can still give those tests if they want, but they are no longer required. Chair Uyghur also directs the Board of Teaching to require all teacher licensure candidates to demonstrate a passing score on the board-adopted skills test. That was also very controversial. It directs the Board of Teaching to require all teacher licensure candidates to demonstrate a passing score on board-adopted skill exams in reading, writing, and mathematics, but it strikes the requirement of attaining a composite score on the ACT plus writing or the SATs, and it allows the board to issue up to 4 temporary one-year licenses, which is 3 years at this point in time. He also has in there, the grounds for revocation, suspension, or denial, and he also includes sex trafficking in his bill as a reason to terminate a teacher or not allow a license. He prohibits a school administrator for a school located in the city of the first class, which would be Rochester, from placing a student for 2 consecutive years in a classroom of a teacher who is in the improvement process, unless no other teacher at the school teaches that grade or subject area. And as you know, that has been floating around for a couple years. He allows 10th grade students who did not take the 8th grade MCA to use a different reading assessment accepted by enrolling post-secondary institutions. And that is really about the main points. He did take amendments today. They tried to amend the school survey. That did not happen. They tried to amend the high school league language for transgender students. That did not happen either. So we'll see what the final bill rollout is, and we should have that on Monday. And on Tuesday, we have 2 bills up for Rochester that are our bills. Senator Nelson has the teacher evaluation bill to fund that. Senator Nelson also has the bill for the levy paying community experts. And that's not as controversial in the Senate as it is in the House. On the House floor with House File 2, it became a very controversial subject about allowing community experts to teach at all. So it will be interesting to see our hearings go, and I wish you all a nice weekend. I understand it's supposed to snow on Sunday, and let's hope that doesn't come true. One of the best things in Chair Uyghur's omnibus bill is the fact that he allows schools to begin the 2015-2016 school year on September 1st. He doesn't really give flexibility to the school districts to choose, but because of Labor Day being on the 7th, many school districts and organizations have come forward and said, starting on the 8th is a little bit late. He does say that you cannot have school on Thursday or Friday before that, but at least you can get the school year started. And this is kind of the camel's nose under the tent that will allow school boards to set their own start dates. So we'll see what happens with that. He also addresses dyslexia and other diseases. There was a bill to force parents to have eye exams for their kids, and it was a little bit too strong, so that did go down. That was Representative Johnson, the vice chair of the committee, but she's still working on vision screening, and I think we probably would have a stake in that. The early childhood, Chair Uyghur also allows Race to the Top to the early learning scholarships to go to parents who are 21 years or younger, and children who are homeless or of special needs to come first in the scholarship programs. There was yesterday on the House floor, I'm sure many of you have heard about it, quite a, I don't want to say riot, but it was kind of like a riot from one of the other countries we see on TV where they have fisticuffs. But the Democrats and the Republicans truly did get into it with the ending of the session with Representative Winkler calling the speaker dictator, and the speaker then gavelled down the session. This has been building up this whole session, the controversy between the Republicans and the Democrats. and whose agenda is more important. So we're kind of keep an eye on that. Hopefully when they come back on Monday, everybody will have taken a deep breath and calmed down. I really hate to see that happen, what happened yesterday, and I think they can do a lot better, and I think they will. Now to John Call.
Hi there, John Call here. I'm hoping I have some good news to report to you. Judging by the direction things are taking in both the House and the Senate, it looks as though the Republicans in the House and the Democrats in the Senate want to put more money on the formula, which would be great because I'm sure we're not looking forward to trying to perform the miracle of fishes and loaves with a 1% increase in each of the next 2 years. I think it's possible that the amount put on the formula will exceed 2%, but we'll see what the difference is between the House and the Senate. And the reason why this is possible, at least one of the reasons, is that the legislature thinks that money for early learning should be targeted to need, not across the board, and they're concerned also about whether or not there are the physical facilities to pull that off at this point. So I think I'm optimistic, cautiously so, that one major area of concern will be addressed, and the entire education community has worked together to sell the notion that 1% isn't going to do it. At this point, I wish you a good weekend, and we'll be back on the job next Monday. Take care.